So welcome to day one of the session. So first few days we'll focus on programming concepts. Okay, the programming concept that is required for our future learning. So we'll start with programming, then we'll get into advanced level of programming. That means we'll talk about NumPy, pandas. We'll implement couple of um, uh, problems with NumPy, pandas. Then we'll get into visualization. Okay, visualization is also important. So we'll see how we can do using Python. Then we'll do statistics. And once we are done with the statistics, we're not going to too much into statistics. We'll talk about probability and inferential statistics. And then we'll get into our machine learning. So this is going to be a very long journey. Okay. I'm going to do things in the class and give you some projects to work on. Okay. What I'll do is I'll create a group, okay, for us, and any questions you have, you can message me in the group, okay. So that, like, let's say you're practicing in the afternoon and you have some question, so post that question in the afternoon. Don't wait for the next class, okay. That way we can save some time, and if whenever I see your message and get time, I'll reply, okay. So that way we can move faster.
Okay.
So okay, so what I have right now is a PyCharm screen. Okay, I don't know why it's saying not responding. Okay, so this is where I'll be doing the programming. So if you install PyCharm, I'll send it. I'll give a PDF, okay, later, which you can see. Like if you have to install this. So I generally use PyCharm, and you have coding here, editor here. Where
I am using Navigator. I mean notebook, Jupyter notebook.
Jupyter notebook, right? No problem. Okay, if, you know, it's all the same, right? Doesn't matter.
PyCharm, I need to install it explicitly.
No. Whatever you have will work with that only. Okay, you don't have to install anything extra. So if you have Jupyter Node, that should be good enough.
Yeah, generally in the projects, like in the real time, what we will use, sir?
Depends upon the company. Okay, I have seen people using which. So if you look at, there are Jupyter Node, PyCharm, and Visual Studio. So these are the top 3 IDEs which people use.
Okay. Visual Studio.
Yes.
MS Visio, you mean to say?
MS Microsoft, yeah. So they also have editor for Python.
Yeah.
Okay, so in fact, even Google recommends Visual Studio. That is so interesting.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it doesn't matter. Okay. And one website which you have to kind of bookmark is python.org. Okay, we are going to follow this. Okay.
Sure.
So, you know, if you already have Python, great. If you don't have, you can download it from here. So latest version is Python 3.10.5, but I don't recommend going to latest version, because later we'll be using other libraries, right, for machine learning and TensorFlow and OpenCV. There could be. I'm not saying it always happens, but there are always chances that those libraries may not work with latest version. Let's say, you know, Python launches 3.10, and then the developers, people who are responsible to maintain those code lines, right, they will go and test it. And if something is duplicated or it's not working, they will fix it and launch again. So those libraries are always, like, you know, one step behind. Okay, because once Python is public, only then they can go and work and test it. So more advanced programming you do, it is better that we be one step behind. Okay, if 3.10 is the market for machine learning, I would say go to 3.9. Okay, don't go to 3.10. Okay, recommendation, but it's not mandatory. You can choose to use latest as well, no problem, because we have a very good community. Okay, so anything doesn't work, the people are there to help. Okay, so that's not a problem. Okay, so this is about download. PSF is Python Software Foundation. they are the ones who maintain, okay, or they're like custodian of Python, right? They maintain what should be added, what should be removed. They talk about conferences and things like that. So they are responsible for maintaining Python documents. Okay, so any questions, anything, this is where we will go and clear our doubt. Okay, so this is Python is very well documented language. That means that we can go to documents and we can search for it. Okay, so this is where I'm going to come often when we are doing the programming. Then PyPy, we talk about uh, libraries, right? Like scikit-learn and OpenCV and things like that. So this maintains the list of libraries which are there in Python. Okay, so we will install things from here. Okay, of course, job postings and community. Again, this is again, for any questions, queries you have, you can go and post it in community. Okay, now okay, okay. Now, see, when we download Python, right? Okay, depending upon the machine that you're using, Mac or Windows, you can download. When you download it, this is very lightweight. In the sense, Python will be what, maybe few MBs, but we know that Python can be used for everything, right? Python can be used for machine learning that we are doing. It can be used for web development, game development. Okay, so how is that? Uh, you know, um, uh, Maybe 100, 200 MB file, okay, is able to perform all those things. So what happens is, okay, the basic installer of Python will have basic features. It will not have the advanced features. So basic features it will have, and when we need to use advanced features, we will go and download, okay, that specific library for our use. So later, okay, we will see how to download, and we have to download from PyPy. That's why, Python index. So this is where package index. This is where all the packages are there, and we will see how to download from it and then use it. So if you are working in Python extensively for after a year, that 200-300 MB file will become a GB. Okay, that means you have downloaded so many packages you are using all those packages for your program, and that's normal. Okay, because see, you might work with machine learning, okay, but I might choose to work on, let's say, game development. It doesn't make sense for me to download machine learning libraries, and doesn't make sense for you to download game development libraries, right? So that's why Python says, okay, I'll give you the basic thing, and as and when you need it, you download it. So when you download it, Python puts all these things in what you call as environment. Okay, this is how you can maintain multiple versions of Python on your machine. So when you install Python, it'll ask you for obviously it'll ask you for a location where you want to install. So when you install a particular versions, you can install multiple versions of Python, right? Of course, if you install multiple versions of Python, path will be different, file will be different. So where Python is installed, that folder is called as project, basically project or environment. That is the Python environment. Okay, and when we run the program, we have to link, okay, to that particular versions. So whether you talk about PyCharm or Jupyter Note or Visual Studio, they don't come with its own Python installation. Okay, it is just an editor where you can assume these things to be a very advanced notepad kind of thing. Of course, you can program in notepad also. Okay, just that if you use these softwares, it makes our programming easy. It makes those suggestions and handling output, all those things makes it easy. That's why we are using what we call as IDEs, integrated development environment. So PyCharm or Jupyter Note, these are all your IDEs, integrated development environment. So it's easy. They make working with Python easy, but they are not Python, right? You have to install Python. You have to use install and then link your Python to that specific version of Python. Okay, and this is how you can maintain. Let's say in PyCharm, if you go to File and Settings. Okay, so let's say I'm working on two projects. Okay, And one project was done on 3.7, so I'm continuing to use on 3.7, and I just started a new project which is on 3.9 or 3.10, let's say. I will not have to install two different PyCharms or two different node, Jupyter node. Okay, one installation is good enough. What I need to do is I need to open my file and just link the Python interpreter. Okay, Python interpreter to that particular version. So right now, if you see, my PyCharm is linked to 3.9, but I have other versions as well. I have 3.7 also. Okay, so if I want, I can link it to 3.7 from here. Okay, so you can have 2, 3, 5, 10 versions, doesn't matter. Okay, every version it has its own environment setup, right? The folder, and whichever you want to use, you can simply select from here. We can select the Python interpreter from here. Okay, and as you install new software packages, you'll get it here. So these are some of the packages that I've already installed before. Okay, so that's how you set up your tool or IDE for programming. So see, Python, is a tool. It's a language, right? It's a language to communicate with machine, right? We want to give instructions to machine, and then output will be given to us by the machine. So this is just a language, okay? But let's say, for example, we are talking in English, right? So English is a language for us to communicate. But we are here to learn, machine learning, right? So context here is machine learning, but we need language, right? We need language to communicate, right? If we don't know our language, right? There is no common language between me, you, and me. Then whatever I want to convey, I will not be able to convey. So it is important that we learn Python language. Okay. Okay. So the one thing. Second thing is now you're all three of us are in three different places, right? But we are able to communicate in English using Zoom. So Zoom is like a tool, right? We could have used phone, we could have used GoToMeeting or whatever, right? So that is like PyCharm. So PyCharm is only a tool using which we will communicate. So now, right now, it's like learning English, right? We are learning a language. Once we have okay with language, that's when we will get into learning those advanced concepts. Okay, so we are going to write our first programming statement. So here I'm going to say print. Now Python, okay, the commands are all small case. Okay, there are few capitals as well, but those are, I think, very less. Like 99% of the things are in small. Okay, it is case sensitive. That means if you write P capital, it will give you different meaning. Okay, so print, and print is a function. Okay, so in any programming language, functions mean there is a special meaning for it. Okay, there is a code which is already written for us. Okay, so function is nothing but set of code which is already written for us, and we are only calling that function. So when I just call print, print has few lines of code associated with it, right? So when I call print, okay, all those lines of code are automatically called. Okay, so it has a special meaning. Now print is what you call as inbuilt function. That means the developers of Python have created the meaning for print, okay, and we are using it. Later we will see how we can create our own functions. Okay, we'll learn to create our own functions later. Okay, so print is the first command we're going to learn. So print all small, okay, and every function will have simple bracket open and close. Okay, that's how when you see this, something like this, you know, oh, it's a function. Okay, so print, bracket open, close, and inside print, you can give whatever you want to do, right? So, okay, let's say I put 5 here. Okay, now when I run it, you will see, okay, what happened. Test 1. Interesting. Oh. Oh. So wait, I put the wrong file. This should not be test. I'm sorry. Okay, test 1. So see here, the file that is run is test 1, right? So this is where I need to put, right? So if you have to run, let's say test2, you have to go right click on it. First time you have to link it, right? So right click and then you say run test2, right? But now we'll be doing program in test1. So I'm going to test1 and I'm saying print 5. Okay, then I go, I right click on it and then I say run test1. Okay, you see 5 is printed on the screen. Okay, now if I say 5 plus 6 plus 3 and when I run it, you get 14. So when whatever we are giving inside print, right, it is evaluating and displaying the answer. Okay, so print, okay, and you can give values inside, it is evaluating and then it is printing the final answer. Now let's say I take same thing here and I put quotation. I put this in single or double, doesn't matter. I put it in quotation. Now I run it and see. Okay, so what do you notice?
In the first statement, it has added and given the result. In the second statement, it took as a string.
Correct. So in second case, okay, we'll talk about string in some time. But when we give in quotation, okay, it is like telling Python, okay, don't use your brain, do whatever I'm saying. Okay, here quotation is not there. So Python started using its brain. Oh, this fellow wants to print 5 plus 6 plus 3. Oh, what is 5 plus 6 plus 3? 11 plus 3, 14. Okay, let me print 14. But when you put quotation, I'm saying Python, I'm giving you this, but do not use your brain. Do not think too much about it. Whatever I'm saying, you just do it. Whatever I'm saying, you just do it. Okay, so that's the purpose of giving in quotation. Okay, so here it doesn't matter, in quotation you can give anything. Okay, and it will print as it is. Okay, so we have seen two versions of Python. We have, sorry, print, right? First version where it is evaluating and second version where it is not evaluating. Print can take multiple forms of these. Okay, so in a function, when we pass the values inside, right, these are called parameters. Okay, so this is one parameter. Here also it is one parameter. Here also it is one parameter. That means these three functions are taking one parameter each. One parameter each. Now I can add multiple parameters, okay, using comma. So when you see a comma, that means it is separating different parameters. So I have quotation here. So this is getting printed. Now I'm saying comma, and I'm going to say 4 plus 3 plus 2. Plus 2. Now I have given two parameters here. This is the first parameter and this is second parameter. So this will be printed as it is and this will be evaluated. So how does Python know that these are two different things? Using comma. So comma is important in every functions for that matter. It is separating, okay, the two parameters. So here you have one parameter. Okay, this is second parameter. You also call it an argument. Okay, argument or parameter. And you can have another one here. Okay, print does not restrict. Okay, you can have any number of arguments passed to print. Just that make sure that all of these are separated by comma. Okay, couple of things that we have to note about print is, see here when I say print and print and print, by default all these values are printed in three different lines. Okay, all these values are printed in three different lines. So in Python, to if you want to print, okay, in different line, we use /n, \n. So let's say I want to print half of D in one line and other half of D's in another line. So within quotation, okay. So the /n, \n is within quotation. We have to give within quotation only. So DDs /n DDs, and now when I run it, okay. So see, the first part got printed in one line, next part got printed in another line. One option is that I'll put this in print here, okay, and then this one I will put it another print. Right? If you don't want to use /n, this is what you will do. One thing you have to remember is whatever you are using as opening quotation, same thing you have to give as closing. If you are using single quote, you have to end with single quote. If you are giving double quote, you have to end with double quote, right? You cannot give single starting and ending double. You can choose, you are free to choose single or double, up to you. But whatever you choose, same thing you have to give for closing also. Okay. So here I've used single quote for starting, so I can close it with single quote. Here I'm giving double quote for starting, so I can close it with double quote. Okay. So this is how you are printing, okay, values in two different lines. Now, as I said, right, you can print using two different print. You'll get output on two different line here, but you can also choose to use /n, okay, and print it in two different line. Okay, so \n, and this is given within quotation. Okay, because here, though, what we said was that in quotation it means do not use your brain. Okay, there are some special situations. Okay, and those situations are done given with \. So \/ is called as escape sequence. Okay, \/ is called as escape sequence. Okay, even though within quotation we are saying that Python do not use your brain, but Python will use its brain if you give anything with \. So N is for new line, T is for tab, and there are a couple of other things. Not every letter is associated, right? For example, let's say P. P does not have any special meaning, right? So if I give \p, now when I run it, you'll still get \p here, okay? Because \p does not have any special meaning, okay? So when it does not have any special meaning, it'll go try to think, oh, \p, oh no, I don't have anything. So you print is as it is. But when you see \n has a special meaning, okay? We have seen n, let's say type T, \t also has a special meaning, that is to give tab number of spaces. So when you run it, it added, space here, okay, tab space. So it depends upon the settings. Have a setting of 3, it'll add 3, or if you have a setting of 1 space, it'll add 1 space. Okay, so there are some letters, okay, we will see them as we go along. Those have special meaning, \n, \c, \a, okay. So, okay, so when you give \n, okay, it will print in different line. If you say \t, it added a tab space, okay. But let's say I want to print \n. I want to say is for new line, right? I want to say that \n is for new line. I want it to be printed as it is, okay. So, but what will happen? Problem is, if you give \n, it added a new line here, right? It added a blank line because \n means add a new line. So Python says, if you do not want special meaning to be read, okay, if you do not want special meaning to be read, okay, you can create as another \. Okay, there are other methods, right? There are other, like putting R, will do later, okay. But first thing that we are going to learn for negating this special meaning is using another \. So you put one more \, and then \n. So when you put two \s in Python, they will combine to make one \. Okay, so this two is getting combined to make one backslash. So n will not have backslash, so it is not giving special meaning. So see, backslash always works with one character only. Okay, no such examples are there when backslash AB or PN, nothing like that. Okay, it always works with one character. Backslash, next character, it may or may not have meaning. Definitely, it doesn't take more than one character. So when I run it now, okay, you see that we are getting single slash and n. Okay, so backslash is used to another backslash. Okay, will negate the impact of slash n or escape sequence. So you can use two slashes. Now, if I want to print double backslash n, what will I do? I want to print double backslash n for new line. This is exactly how I want to print it. Okay.
Sir, remove that commas.
Comma. Where is comma?
Quotation.
Where?
Quotation.
If I remove the quotation, then what does that mean? It will start using its brain, right? If I remove the quotation, it will start using its brain.
If we want double slash n to be printed, I think we need to add 3 slashes.
Okay. Now, if I add one more slash, 3 slashes, what is happening is these 2 slashes together is becoming 1 slash, correct? And then this backslash n has a meaning. So what it will do, it will print 1 slash, okay, because these 2 slashes has become 1 slash, right? And then you have slash n, which is like new line, correct? So if I want double slash, I'll put 4 slash, okay? So that means now we are saying that these first two slashes together should become 1 slash, and next 2 slashes should become another slash. Then there is no impact on n. So now when we run it, always 2 slashes will make 1 slash. So if you have to put 5 slashes, then you have to put 10 backslashes, right? So 2 will make 1, another 2 will make 1, another 2 will make 1. So 10 will get reduced to 5. So this is how you can put 2 backslashes. Okay. So this is how we have seen how to print content in 2 different lines. Now let's say I want to combine into one single line. Okay. So let's say I print here, good morning, and here I say print, how are you? Okay. Now if I run it, of course these two will be printed in 2 different lines, right? Good morning, how are you? But I want to print, for some reason I have to use 2 different print. Okay, for some reason I have to use 2 different print, so I'm using 2 different print, but the content I want to print it in one single line. We'll see examples later, what I mean, but here you see I want to combine these values in one single line. Then what do I do? Okay, so print has what we call as invisible slash n. Print has invisible backslash n at the end. Okay, so that's why whenever you do print, it gets, okay, it executes that invisible backslash n and it goes to next line. It prints that invisible backslash n, goes to next line. Now I want to handle that. I want to delete that invisible backslash. How can you delete something which is invisible? First, you have to make it visible. Correct? If something is invisible and you want to work with it, first somehow we have to make visible, right? If you have watched Mr. India, you have to put red light on it, right? When you put red light only, you'll be able to see Mr. India, then you can fight with him, right? So we have something called as end here, END, end command. So second command that we're learning today is end. Print we have seen, and end, and see PyCharm is so intelligent, it is suggesting us that P4 parameter, it's a parameter, so we have to give comma and end equal to, okay, end equal to, okay, and whatever you want to do, using end equal to end command, using end parameter, you are having control over that invisible new line. Now, whatever you want it to be at the end of the line, you can put here. I want to put exclamation mark and space. Now, when you run it, you see good morning and then exclamation mark space, how are you? Okay, it has removed the backslash n, right? Default value is backslash. Actually, this is what Python adds to every print. So this value is added to every print statement. Okay, even this one, okay, has this value. If you do this, that means you are doing nothing. You are not making any changes. This is by default, it is there. So when you don't give it, Python will put it by default here. So now we are taking control over it, and we are saying, okay, no, I don't want backslash n. I want to give, whatever, any number of characters. Okay, it is anyway a quotation, so you can give any number of character here. So now when you run, good morning, how are you? And if I say I am fine, it will always be in different line, because line number 8 print has a new line, isn't it? So it says, how are you? Because these two got combined, and I'm fine is here. Now let's say if you want to combine these statement also, so you say end equal to question mark, okay, and then when you run it, run button, okay, I am fine got printed here. Makes sense, everyone?
Sir,
Yes, sir.
Yes, go ahead.
सर ये दोनों को एक साथ प्रिंट करना होता कैसे करना सर? ये गुड मॉर्निंग और हाउ आर यू पहले अलग अलग प्रिंट करे थे ना सर?
वही तो किया ना, एक साथ प्रिंट किया ना मैंने, एंड लगाकर।
एंड लगाया था साथ में प्रिंट हुआ था।
एंड मतलब क्या हुआ कि बाय डिफॉल्ट दिस प्रिंट बैकस्लैश n, they have backslash n. We want to remove it. We want to remove that backslash n. Backslash मतलब क्या हुआ? Print in next line, correct? यहाँ पे पूरा आउटपुट क्या हो रहा है? अलग अलग लाइन में आ रहा है. So backslash n is to print in two different lines, but I don't want to do that. I want to print in same line. So I'm removing, I'm deleting that backslash n. How do you delete? Using end equal to. End equal to whatever you give. You see here, I have give exclamation and space. So good morning ke baad, you have exclamation and space here. How are you ke baad? Question mark and space. So whatever you give end equal to, that will be printed at the last. That will be printed at the last. Okay. Instead of that invisible new line. Okay. So it will remove the new line, and whatever you give, that will get printed here. Makes sense?
Yes, sir, clear.
Okay. So we have reached to a first set of achievement. Okay, we have learned to work with print. Okay. Now, see, when you are working with any content, right? We need to know what type of content it is, right? So, example, if I tell you add 3 plus 5, you can easily perform a 3 plus 5. But if I tell you multiply A into B, right? So two things here. You cannot multiply A into B, correct? Because you cannot multiply a text with another text, correct? We cannot multiply character or string or sentence or word with another. But if I tell you A is 5 and B is 10, then what is A plus A into B? Then you can say, okay, since A is 5, B is 10, so 5 into 10, 50. Now see, three things we have discussed here. When I'm saying add two numbers, right? So you can directly say print 5 plus 3. Now these are called constants. Okay, 5 means 5, 3 means 3. I cannot say take 5 and assume it is 10. No, 5 is 5 only. You cannot assume it to be 10. You won't get 13 in any case, right? You will always get 8 only, right? So this is an example of constant, right? But if I want to use it, okay, in terms of A and B, I can define A equal to 5, B equal to 3. Now you see, here A is what we call as variables, okay? Now, there is one more concept in programming languages called as comment, okay? Comments are meant for human being reading, for us to read and understand what comment means, okay? Comment will not be read or, programming language will ignore comment, okay? So if you see in Python, comment is represented as hash. So if I say hash and then I say whatever, Python will not even go there. Okay. Generally, when we write our programs, right, after few days, you'll forget what you have written. Okay. Or let's say you have written the program and now I have to work on it. I need to understand what logic you have put. So that's why what we do is we use comment. Comment is for human beings to read. You can write comment for yourself to read, because if you have implemented a very good logic, right? You have struggled and you struggle for a whole one day and you came up with a very good logic which you love it. But let's say after 1 month again, if you have to make some changes, you might forget what you did back then. So it's always better that you put comment, whether it's for you or whether in corporate world, of course, you will be working with somebody else's code. So somebody else will work with your code, right? It is very difficult to understand somebody else's code. So it is always a very good practice to put comment. Okay, so you can put comment, okay, using hash here. So in everything or anything after hash is ignored. Okay, so here if I write print also, so this print is in comment. Python will never ever execute that print. But a equal to 5, Python will execute. Python knows a equal to 5 because that is not in comment. Okay, you can put comment anywhere in the line, or you can put comment in the beginning also, right? Okay, so if I put in the beginning, entire line will be ignored by the Python. Okay, so that's why it is, comment is for human being reading for us. Okay, not for Python. If you want Python to ignore something, you put a comment. And hash is called single line comment, right? Because when you put hash, only that particular line from there onwards is commented or ignored. But let's say I want Python to ignore 5 lines or more than 1 line, right? 2 lines, 3 lines. One option is you put hash in front of all the 5 lines. Okay, all the 5 lines, 3 lines, 2 lines, whatever line you want to comment. That is one option. Second option is we use triple bracket. Okay, so if I go and I say triple bracket, between these two triple bracket, okay, you can put any line of comment. This is a sample comment. Please ignore another line of comment. Okay, now when I run it, Python will ignore. Python will not, okay, execute only. It will not go there only. Okay, so see, it is not giving any error. Okay, so that's how you write comment. Okay, single line comment using hash. Okay, multi-line comment, you put hash, in the beginning of all the lines. Okay, but sometimes that will be difficult, right? Because putting hash on multiple lines will take a lot of time. Okay, and let's say if you have to uncomment again, okay, then again you have to go to each line and say uncomment. Right? Better you put it in, triple quote, and we'll see you can use single or double both. Okay, I have used single here, but you can use double quote also. It will work. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So we have some print. Okay, now coming back to a equal to 5 and b equal to 3. So it's like what we do in mathematics, right? We are saying let x equal to 5 or let a be 5 and b be 3, right? Now what is a plus b, right? I can say print a plus b. Now see here, if I comment this part, if I don't define a equal to 5 and b equal to 3, now if I run it, PyCharm is intelligent, so it's already giving me a red line saying it's an error. But here it's like telling you, right? Add a and b. Now what is a? Okay, we don't know.
This is good.
Sorry.
It is showing in red.
Yes. Yes.
In notebook, it doesn't show. It
Yeah.
just says syntax error.
Yes. So it will even in underline the point where the error is there. Okay, so that while programming, and it will tell you. And see the error that is going to give. Okay, it's already when you point it shows here unresolved reference of a. Think I don't know what a is. Python is saying you want me to add a and b, but I don't know what a is. Now why? Because see, when you give in quotation, you're saying do not use your brain, right? So if I give this in quotation, okay, it will print a plus b, right? Not at all a problem. But if I don't give quotation, it is trying to evaluate what is a, right? And see, programming always happens in a sequence. The line, even if I give a equal to 10 after this, it's not going to solve my problem, right? Because it is going to check for the a value above. And above, we have not defined the value of a. We have not defined the value of a. We have not said what a is. Okay. If you put in quotation, it's a different matter. But if you don't put in quotation, it will look to evaluate. Okay. So you say a equal to 5. So see, this underlined error has gone, but still b has error. So I'm going to say b equal to 3. Equal to is to assign, right? Just like we do in mathematics. A equal to 5 means I'm saying, let's create a variable. Okay, these are called variables. Okay, the text that you write, the names that you write in text, but you don't put quotation. Okay, they're called variables. I'm saying, let me create a variable called a whose value is 5. Let me create a variable b whose value is 3. Okay, variable means the value can change. So here line number 11, I'm saying a equal to 5, and line number 14, I'm saying a equal to 50. Possible. Okay. So when I run it, okay, a plus b, what will you get? You'll get 8, isn't it? A is 5, b is 3, and when you run it, Python knows the values of a and b, so it is going to print it for us. Okay, so the values can belong to various data types. That's what we call data types. Data types mean type of data. How many types of data or what is the type of data that you are working with? Okay, so next topic that we'll talk about after print is called data types. And today we'll talk about basic data types. So basic, you have int, you have float, you have str, you have bool, and you have complex. Int means integer. Okay, integer non-decimal values. Okay, plus or minus both included, but non-decimal values. Non-decimal values means like 8. Okay, minus 5, minus 4, 99, any value. It can be any, it can be any big value as well. So non-decimal values are called as integer values. So Okay, so here it can be positive or negative both. Okay, it doesn't matter. It can be positive, negative both. Then we have float. Float is your positive, negative, right? Values with decimal point. So you can have 5, -5. Are these float? No, these are your integer. If I make it 0.0, right? 5.0, okay, 8.989. These are your float values. It should have decimal point, okay? If it is just 5, you can say 0.0, right? 0.0 is same as 5, but data type changes, okay? It is no longer integer, but it has become a float value now, okay? So if you're handling with decimal values, you have to use float, okay? I'll tell you what it means, okay, how to use it. But let's understand the meaning of integer and float first. Integer is your non-decimal values and float is your decimal values, okay? Now let's say str, right? Str stands for string. All the text data is called string in Python, okay? So hello. Now if I put hello just like that here, okay, if I say hello, okay, it will assume it to be a variable name, right? This is how we give variable name, a equal to hello, right? It will say that you have not referenced it, you have not declared, you have not defined hello, what hello is. But I don't want hello to be a variable. I want hello to be a string. Okay, so Python says put that in a quotation. Okay, so whatever we have done so far in quotation, they are nothing but string. So, okay, strings are always followed with, okay, quotation. You can have single quotation. I mean, here I'm using double. You can have single. You can have triple single. Okay, you have triple double as well. Okay, all these are ways of declaring text. Okay, any text thing that you want to declare or pass, we have to use quotation. That's how Python knows, okay, you want to give a text data. Okay, you are giving a text data and not a integer or float data. Okay, so we have seen 3 so far, right? Integer, float, and string. The fourth one is called bool. Bool is for Boolean, okay, short form for Boolean data. It will have just 2 values, Boolean 2 values, yes, no kind of, okay. So you have true, T capital, R, U, E small, F capital, A, L, S, E small, okay. So Boolean will have just 2 set of values, okay. You have T capital, R, U small, F capital, A, L, S, E small. Because if you give something different, let's say you give true all capital, then it will think it as a variable or a string, not as a Boolean. And here I'm not giving quotation, though I'm writing text here, but I'm not giving quotation because when you write true like this, Python knows, oh, okay, it's a Boolean, not a string. Okay, so you have float, string, Boolean, and the last simple one is complex. Okay. Complex, do you know what complex means? Complex, not complex. Complex. It's square root of -1. Square root of -1 is called complex values. Okay. Square root of -1. Okay. I don't know if you guys, Manish and Harsh, have done it or not. Okay. See, what is square root of 1? 1. Square root of +1. So what you have seen so far, what we have learned is that you cannot perform square root of minus number. Okay. But now later you will see that you can perform, okay, square root of -1. Okay, minus numbers also. and we represent square root of minus 1 as I. Okay, in mathematics we say I. Okay, when you see in mathematics book, I is represents the square root of minus 1. In Python, complex numbers are represented as J. Okay, J in Python. So if I say 5J, okay, that means 5 is the number and J is square root of minus 1, right? So if I have to find square root of minus 100, what will you get? So minus 100 can be represented as 100 into minus 1, right? So square root of 100 is 10 and minus 1 is, okay, J in Python, or in mathematics it will be 10I. Okay, 10I or 10J, whatever you call it. Okay, in mathematics it will be 10I. So when you see 5J, it means 5 is a whole number, integer number, but it has J. It is not plus 5. It is 5 into root of minus 1, right? They're called as complex numbers. Okay, so if I perform square of 5J, what will I get? What is square of 5J? The square of 5 is square of J
Square is 25.
minus 25, right? So 5, yeah, 5 is 25 and J is minus 1. So 25 into minus 1, it will be minus 25.
Okay.
What is J, sir? I didn't understand.
J is square root of minus 1. So in mathematics, we call it as I, but in Python, we call it as J.
Okay. So you mean to say J into J becomes single J?
J into J becomes minus 1, minus number 1, the integer value. J into J is minus 1.
J into J becomes 1, right?
Minus 1, not 1. See, 1 into 1 is
to be iota, sir.
Iota is the short form for full form for I in mathematics. Okay, in Python we call it as J. So J into J will be minus 1, sir. Okay, so okay, and we'll see examples of all these 5. So as a basic data type, okay, we have 5 data types. Okay, integer, float, boolean, string, and complex. Okay, we'll not get into complex too much. We'll see a couple of examples, we'll leave, but other 4 will stay with us for the rest of our life. Okay, generally in mathematics kind of higher mathematics and higher physics kind of thing, we use I, okay, very often. Okay, and sometimes even in to represent a vector. Okay, now vector is again an important mathematics concept for machine learning. Okay, we are not going there, but okay, we can maybe one fine day we can talk about those things as well. Okay, but from machine learning perspective, okay, see, in physics, this ij will represent the direction also. Okay, so when you talk about 3-plane, right? Now, if you talk about 2-dimension or 3-dimension or 5-dimension, we use ijk to represent different dimensions. Okay, but here it is simply minus 1. I mean, square root of minus 1. Okay, now let's look at an example of all these things. So I'm going to create a variable called as val1. Okay, so I'm creating a variable with name val1, and this val1 can take integer value, can take float value, can take string value, can take Boolean value, can take 4 plus 2j. Okay, so 4 is integer value plus 2j is a complex. So integer plus complex will make it complex. Okay, so
Okay,
this
here only 2j is a complex?
Yes. Yes. 2j is complex, and because
What
of
is the value, sir, for 2j?
no value itself
2
is
into under root minus 1.
so 2j, we call it as 2j only. Okay, and I'll show you, how to
2
perform.
into minus 1?
No, 2 into root of minus 1, square root of minus 1, not 2 into 1. See, 2 into minus 1 is minus 2 only.
Yeah,
It is 2 into square root of minus 1.
I have never seen this. That's why.
Yeah. Generally, we use this in advanced mathematics. Okay, generally, our regular work, we don't use this. So, we are not going to do too much on this, but yeah, it is there. So we will, work on it, and we will.
Sir, for the string you have wrote 3 quotations for how and thanks. So what does it is it
You can use 3, 2, 1. All are valid ways of working with string. Okay?
sir, it will not change that now, sir?
So it will
String.
not.
Okay, sir.
Okay, whether you give single quote or double quote or triple quote, it will not change. Okay, now string is again a little more complex. We'll spend one full day on strings only, right? How to
Okay, sir.
define string, how to work with string, how to manipulate string. Okay, important topic. We talk about NLP, natural language processing, that is purely based on text only, right? So we will spend one full day, okay, 2 hours on just string.
Okay, sir.
Okay, so these are examples of the 5 basic data types that we have seen. See, when you say data type, that means how the data or what kind of data we are working with, right? So NumPy pandas is another type of data type only. Okay, but we'll start with basic. Let's see how basic work, and later we'll go and look at other data types. Okay, so this is called as integer, and if you want to know the data type of any variable, okay, we use print. Okay, now if I say val1, it will print 5 for me. All right, but val1 is 5. Okay, and let's say I want to say here something like this, val1, or let it be val1, and then I want to put the type here, val1 colon. So this is going to print the value of val1, right? So here is going to print 5 as it has printed here. Now I'm passing second parameter as space colon space. When I say space colon space, it will print space colon space as it is. As it is. Okay. So it's printing space colon as it is. So when I run it, you will see 5 colon. Now I want to print the type of val1, data type of val1. So we have a function called as type. Now we are looking at the second function, type. Type is a function that will print the data type of first value. Okay, data type of first value. So here if I say type, so this is what I said, right? I have to give the function name, bracket open, bracket close. This is how we define function. Bracket open, bracket close. And inside this, I will say val1, type of val1. Now when you run it, you see class int. In Python, everything is considered as class. Okay, you don't get it, don't worry. After a few days, right? After 4 or 5 days, we'll come to class. We'll talk about what class means, object means. Okay. So for now, just ignore the word class. We'll talk about it later. Okay, it's kind of advanced topic. Once we cover the basic, we'll go there. For now, okay, focus here. So it says integer. So it knows when I say val1 equal to 5, automatically it assigns integer data type to val1. Okay, now same thing, I can Copy and paste here. Now see here. So I'm using a function inside a function, right? Okay, this is a complete print, right? Inside this print, I'm using a function here, right? So type is inside print. So when you put type inside print, the inside function is called. First, the inside function is called. So when you have print and type both, and since type is inside print, first type is called. So type will say val1, the type is class int. But we have to print it on the screen, isn't it? To print it on the screen, we said print. Okay. Now if I copy this and paste it after every variable that we discussed. Okay. So when you run it, so it says 5 int minus 3 float, hellos str, true bool, 4 plus 2j complex. Okay. So this is how you can, define. And next class, tomorrow when we meet, we'll talk about different operations that we can perform. Okay. So integer will have its sets of operation. Float will have its own set of operations. String will have its own set of operation. Boolean will have its own set of operations. That means the work that you can perform on Boolean data type. Complex will have its own set of data type. Okay. So maybe you can see complex here. Now, if I say val1 is 4 plus 2j and I'm defining val2 equal to 4 plus 3j. Okay, not 3j. Okay, let me make it as minus 2j. Okay, 4 plus 2j and val2 is 4 minus 2j. Okay, now I want to print val1 into val2. I want to print val1 into val2. What is val1? 4 plus 2j. What is val2? 4 minus 2j. So we can see this as a plus b into a minus b. Correct? It's like saying a plus b into a minus b. What is a plus b into a minus b? Mathematics class? A plus b into
A
a
square minus B square.
A square minus b square. Yes. A square minus b square. Now you tell me what is a square? 4 into 4, 16.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Minus b square. What is b square? B is 2j. So 2j square is
4.
minus 4.
Sir, there square root and square will cancel na, sir.
Right? Cancel कैसे होगा यार?
Sir, minus j का value क्या है? Under
J
root
square.
-1 है ना?
What is j square?
Minus.
1.
Okay, right.
Right?
Yes, sir, -4.
Yes.
Got.
And 2 square is 4. 2 into 2 is 4. J into j is minus 1. So you get 4 into minus
4.
1 minus 4. And minus of minus 4 will be plus. Right? So this will give us 16 plus 4, 20. Okay. Now, see here. You cannot easily change the data type. If you add or subtract or multiply or divide two complex number, you will get complex number only. In this case, I have multiplied two set of complex number, but I'm getting integer value, right? But when you multiply two complex number, logically, you will get complex number. So, but 20 is integer. How do I make 20 as a complex number? I will say 20 plus 0j, right? 0j is 0, right? But to make it complex, I have to add 0j, right? So when you run it, you will see you get 20 plus 0j.
Okay.
Right? So like this, you can perform different operations on complex
What
number.
is the use, sir? 20 plus 0j. What is the value of it?
Correct. Now, see, it is 20 only. Okay, value is 20 only. But since it's a complex number, right? If I write 20, it becomes integer. Correct? So when you multiply two complex number, it has to be a complex number. For example, okay, Forget about this. Now, if I say 5 plus 6 plus 4 plus 4, what is it?
It's 10.
10, right? But since it is a float number, decimal values, you
10.0 you want.
exactly. Because if I make it 10, okay, well, answer is correct. Okay, here also 20 is same. Here also 10 is correct answer. But since we started with a float value, decimal values, output should also be decimal. So let's say in your exam, let's say you wrote an exam, you got 72%, right? But if they say average should be up to 1 decimal place, then we say 72.0%. Correct? Because when
Yes.
you say 70, it can mean 70.0, 70.1, 70.2, 70.3, 70.4 also it can mean. Only when it is 70.5, it becomes next value. Okay. So
आपका भैया
yeah, so just to make it that it is a decimal value, and I understand what you are saying, you will say 10.0, not 10. Same
yes
way, you are saying 20 plus 0, not 20. 20 will become
Where we'll use this complex numbers, sir?
Oh yes, in generally we use this in in mathematics. Okay, mathematics this is used. Okay, in physics also it is used. We are not going to do it again for our purpose, right? Today is the last day that we'll deal with complex number. Okay, not for us, but yes, it has a lot of application in mathematics. Okay, in advanced mathematics.
In data science,
No, we don't use.
okay.
So this is the last day that we are going to. Since we're talking about the basic data type, we should know, right?
But I'm seeing this for first time.
Okay. Okay. So yes, I mean this will not be used. So that's why we are not going to do it again after today. But
Yeah.
since we are talking about data types, we should know that there are 5, not 4. There are 5 basic data types. Okay. Basic means what? That can store just one value. Okay. So when I say a equal to 5, a is storing 5. Number 5, one single value. I cannot say a equal to 5 comma 10. Okay. Okay. I cannot say a equal to 5 comma or 7 or whatever, right? Here if I try to run, it will give error because one variable will have only one value here, right? So basic data type that we're doing now is about storing one single value to one single variable. Okay, you can even say a comma b comma c equal to 3 comma 8 comma 9. This is fine. Python will accept it. Okay, if you print a comma b comma c, you will get 389. Okay, so you can do multiple value initialization in one single line. You can do multiple value initialization. So I'm initializing a b c, all 3 different variables, okay, in same line. Okay, and it can be different. Okay, it can be 5.8.6, it can be say true. Okay, and you get 3 different values here. So okay, you can do multiple initialization in one single line.
sir we can also write this their type sir
Yes, of course.
in that line
Yes, you can say type of a, right? To print type, let's say I want to print
suppose we
type
write
of P.
type a comma b comma c then it will
No, no,
show
no, no, not type, type of. Okay, type is a function, so it will always be in bracket. Type, you can do that. Okay, now type will return. Type is not, I cannot say type equal to. Type, it will find automatically. So I cannot say type equal to. Okay, type will
okay
always be on the right side, not never on the left side. So I said A comma type B comma C. So A is 3, type B is float,
Float,
and C is
true okay so we can also change the line and ask with the same
yes,
suppose we wrote print abc then print type a type b type c
yes, you can do.
okay sir last time you said what is character I just forgot with that
Character.
Yeah,
String.
like variable and character.
Variable and values. Okay, or type, not character. I said variables and values are the type, right? So integer, float, that's the type, and the variable is the name that you're giving to this value. So this is your data type 4 plus 2j value. Okay, and then value belongs to type complex, and value one, val1 is a variable name. Okay,
Okay.
the variable name which is storing that particular value.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Okay, so we'll stop here for today. I'm going to share this code. I'll create a group as well. I'll add 3 of you to the group. And I will share this code, and the video also I'll share.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Any question before we wrap up? Please practice this much for today. Yeah.
I have some general doubts, sir.
Okay, so I'll stop recording and then we can talk about it.